Right now, it's time for that time when we talk to our special guest. Tonight, our special guest is writer and broadcaster Lindsay Perigo. Lindsay is a big fan of the singer Mario Lanza. So much so, he has written a book called The One Tenor and is now embarking on a road tour throughout New Zealand with opportunity. Be watching tonight to win a copy of the brand new book. Lindsay Perigo in the studios of The Beat Goes On, all the way from Wellington. Wow.
Sir Jared.
Yes.
And The Beat Goes On studios, all the way from right here. And I keep telling you, you don't have to have a haircut for me, but you take no notice. So I do appreciate it.
Oh, that haircut's been wonderful. To save me so much, Lindsay.
I imagine it's low maintenance.
Now, Lindsay, you've been a powerful, powerful force in New Zealand politics, New Zealand broadcasting. But time goes by. Would the wonderful Lindsay Perigo be mellowing as time goes by?
Not in the slightest. No, I'm far more impossible now. I was a commentator last night at some university debates. There was absolute, as somebody there called it, magnificent pandemonium. 100% caused by me.
How do you do it?
No mellowing. Well, in fact, I find my feelings about things get more intense as I get older. And I'm more and more mystified at the apparent complete disappearance in Western countries of any kind of moral compass. We can contemplate a monster, and she is truly an evil monster. She plumbs depths of evil that have not yet been plunged by a presidential candidate. That is Hillary Clinton. Unimaginable. But she gets all of this information is out there about her and her pathological congenital lying, and no one cares. Apparently, she's going to Trump. And I just find it amazing. How can this be? Now, when I was a political reporter, that level of deceit, deception, conniving, malevolence she would not have been able to get through the first primary.
Look, we're going to get onto that in a second. We'll tell our viewers the big reason that you're here. Wonderful book is now in hardcover, The One Tenor, and we'll get onto that. But Lindsay, you're a baby boomer, and when did you come into the world? What year was it?
I think it was 1847.
1847?
Well, some say 1951. So
1951.
we'll opt for the latter, yes, in December 1951. So this year I'll become a pensioner, I suppose.
So compared to me, you're a young man.
Yeah, it's marginal, Jared.
65. Well, you never thought that was ever going to happen, did you?
No, I certainly didn't.
When you were a young man in television, New Zealand broadcasting, TVNZ, and you were the leading interviewer, weren't you? You were you were praised from one end of the country to the other. Any thoughts on those days before we continue?
I'd love to see them come back in the sense that I'd like to see that type of journalism reappear. Nowadays, the interviewers are employed as much to express their own opinions as to conduct interviews, and they're employed to talk over and to talk more than their interviewees. It just drives me crazy. I can't watch. So I'd love to go back to the days when the idea of an interview was to elicit information and maybe challenge, but in a non-partisan way, the interviewee on his point of view or his life experiences and so on. But listening, forget it, it's out the window. Apart from anything else, the female reporters, those dreadful noises they make in lieu of speech. Now, when I was last on, we talked about the quacking. It's become exponentially worse since then in that short time. It's absolutely unlistenable, so I don't listen. I just go online and see what's happening in the world. So I can't comment about any of the current crop of readers and reporters and so on. I mean, every time I chance upon it,
So those wonderful days when New Zealand girls in the 1940s and the 50s went to elocution lessons. Is that a lost dream, Lindsay?
I'm determined to bring it back. I run a course I called Kiwis Don't Quack, or Premium Spoken English, or Shut the Duck Up. And it's designed to eradicate that quacking sound with the endless upward inflections, and the hitting the wrong words, like, "Whoa, arrive on Wellington, 6 o'clock." So you hit all the prepositions and conjunctions, the at and in, of, over, etc. Those are not the words you hit, unless there's a particular reason, which there is sometimes, to do so. But it's as though someone's taken hold of the women of the nation in particular and said to them, go out there and sound as dumb as you possibly can. Because if you want to sound as dumb as you possibly can, that's the way you speak.
Let's get off that subject, because you're doing a good job on writing this wonderful book all about Mario Lanza. Now, we know, Lindsay, that for years now you've been a great fan of Mario Lanza. When Mario Lanza sings, something happens to your whole psyche. What is it? What happens?
It's called ecstasy. Who needs the pill? And you can listen to Mario.
Yeah.
And that was the way it was when I first heard him, which was after he died.
Yeah. Go back to that day when you first heard Mario. Where were you, and what happened? I want to hear about this experience. That's changed your life to a certain degree.
Well, it did. And could I just
Yeah.
plug something else as well? That
Yeah.
I'll be telling that story. I'll tell it to you right now. But on this tour that we're about to embark on, so it was another reason to bring out the hard copy of the book. This is Opportunities,
Yes.
the Great Mario Lanza Roadshow, all over the country,
Wow.
beginning in October and through November.
I knew there was a reason you were coming on this show.
I've always an ulterior
Lindsay.
motive. So I came home from school on, it must have been the 8th of October, 1959.
Wow.
October the 7th.
This is an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah. Well, 7. I was
Yes, yeah.
about to turn
7.
8 in December.
Right. You
My
came home from
mother's
school.
huddled on the doorstep. We were let off by the school bus about 200 yards down the road. So I walked from the drop-off to home, and I saw my mother on the doorstep crying. And I thought, oh no, something's happened to Dad. The first thing that flashed through my mind. And so then I came up to her and I said, oh, Mum, what's wrong? I'm going to do it. Think about it. I don't know how I'm going to get through this roadshow, because I'll be the presenter for it. And she said, it's just come on the radio, Mario Lanza died. Well, of course, I'd never heard of him.
You said Mario who?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. I'm not sure what I said, but I was almost bemused to think that whoever this person was
Could
could
move
cause
your mother
such
to tears, yes.
So then, not long after, one of his movies came to town, the Tivoli Theatre in Fielding. I thought, oh, I better go and see this, see what all the fuss was about. And that's, yes, I came out of that theatre in a different world.
So genetically, the genes from your mother were transferred into you, and
I would say the
what she
exact
felt,
same. Yes.
you felt.
Yes,
Yeah.
because she will be on the tour some of the time at least. So, and I'll tell the story and I'll say, there's Mum, who can verify that it's all true, exactly as I told her.
Now, Lindsay, before we go any further, we're talking about the book, etc., let's have, just for some of our viewers who may not have, well, God forbid, haven't even heard of Mario Lanza, and don't even know what his music's like, let's pick one song. So, Lindsay, we're going to look over there and we're going to watch Mario Lanza right now.
Più gentile arriva il giorno, manda il sole più splendor. Lusignor dolce canto, tutto amore, l'anima il cielo.
Wow, it is beautiful, isn't it? Good choice, Lindsay, good choice. So you're going to be doing something that you just love.
Yep.
You're going to be touring New Zealand, talking about Mario Lanza, and of course there'll be a whole ensemble singing all the great songs.
Yes, and there they are there.
Okay, now when's the very first show?
Oh, it's early October.
Early October? Okay, but there is probably a website you can go to.
There
and get
is
all the
opportunity.co.nz, it's probably written there. And it will tell you all the venues and the dates. Early October. I know we start rehearsing late next month in September.
So your life is now about to peak. This is the peak of Lindsay Perigo's life, touring and talking about Mario Lanza.
Well, I was out at Opportunity this morning and we were going through the show and we've got little bits of Mario appearing himself and I do the linking and here I go again. So many emotional highs that, as I say, I suppose I'll be inured to it by the time we hit the road, but at the moment it still brings a lump to my throat.
Well, what a wonderful achievement to to bring the book out and then do the tour. But I wonder, many of our viewers are thinking to themselves, there could be a chance that there's a little competition and we could give a couple of copies away, Lindsay?
Every chance.
Every chance.
Just think of a question. And actually, I'm glad you raised the matter as well, because we will be taking the book on tour. And I'll be available to sign it for people who want to buy it on the spot. And I should say that that's your cheapest option. You can get it from my website, lindsayperigo.com. You can get it from Amazon.com, but the cheapest option will be
on the tour.
Wow. Yes. Signed copies.
Here it is. The big question. What is the name of Lindsay's new book all about Mario Lanza? It's called The One Tenor. That's not too hard, is it?
I shouldn't think so.
There's not two tenors. There's not three. There's only one tenor. One final question. You're on a desert island, you've swum ashore, and somehow there's a bag there and it's allowed one copy, a 45. We're not even going to talk about a CD. One song that Mario Lanza sung that you would be over the moon if you'd found out that. What song would it be?
Well, it's a cliche to say there are so many in answer to a question like that, but there are. But I can isolate one, if I absolutely had to isolate one and no other, would be his 1949 recording, his very first recording session of Che gelida manina, Your Tiny Hand is Frozen, from La Boheme.
Wow.
And that won an award, something like the International Critics Circle in Europe. They must have had some kind of competition going whereby all the Che gelida maninas in the world were judged, and he won, ahead of UC Björling. And UC Björling, that's pretty big singing.
Great. Lindsay, you're wonderful. We're going to see you again.
I sincerely hope so.
It's not over yet, is it, Lindsay?
By no means.